This video is going to discuss text structure. Text structure refers to how the information within a written text is organized. Writers choose the way they organize their text carefully based on their purpose for writing and the meaning they wish to convey to the reader. Therefore, the way that the text is organized, or its structure, contributes to and affects the meaning of the text as a whole. As you read, you should ask yourself, what does this line, paragraph, section, stanza, etc. contribute to the overall meaning of the text? There are some common types of text structures, and these include description, sequence, problem and solution, cause and effect, compare and contrast. This chart shows you some signal words that you can look for. So if you see these words in a text, then you could look at which type of structure they normally go along with, and that could help you figure out the type of text structure. This chart is pretty similar, but it also provides you with a visual or a graphic representation of those text structures. So in description, you have what's being described in the middle and all the adjectives and characteristics around it. Compare and contrast, you have the Venn diagram, how they're alike, how they're different. Then you have the step-by-step or the sequential order diagram here, question, and then possible answers or problem, possible solution. Then you have cause, possible effect. This chart is the same. It shows you the signal words with some other possible ways that you could graphically organize these different types of text structures. You'll notice that they might also give an effect and list the possible causes for cause and effect. So this can kind of help you get an idea of ways to organize a text. And like mentioned at the beginning, authors choose their organization for a reason in order to contribute to the overall meaning, which is the kind of questions that you're going to get about text structure. You're going to have to consider the way that they're organized, and then how does that contribute? So maybe a certain paragraph is giving the cause, or maybe a certain paragraph is giving the effects. Maybe a certain line of a story is describing the main concept. So you would have to figure out, what is this particular section contributing to the whole thing? So here's an example of those type of questions. How does the author's discussion of Paul McCartney and Rene Descartes contribute to the development of ideas in the text? And it tells you to look at paragraphs 8 and 9. So let's look at this particular question. Your first step would have been to read the entire text all the way through. For the sake of time in this video, I'm not going to do that. But this text is describing why dreams are important and what the purpose of dreams is. And so it goes through a problem and solution organization, or it gives a question and gives some possible answers. So in this particular question, though, it's asking what do these two paragraphs contribute to the development of the main ideas? And so if you look at these two paragraphs, dreams have also long been considered sources for inspiration. Paul McCartney, a former lead singer of the band The Beatles, says the idea for the same famous song Yesterday came to him in a dream. He said he woke up thinking of the tune and then immediately rushed to the piano to figure out the notes and write them down. So first I would stop and I would ask myself, okay, what's this paragraph doing? Well, it's talking about Paul McCartney and how his great idea for his famous song came to him in a dream. Now let me look at the next paragraph. Similarly, in the late 1600s, the philosopher and scientist René Descartes spent all day in a heated room searching for the best way to come up with new knowledge. Without a solution at the end of the day, he put down his work and went to sleep. When he woke up, he recalled from his dreams the scientific method, the same process for experiments still taught in schools today. Okay, so this paragraph is giving me another example of a person that got a great idea or inspiration from their dreams, and how the scientific method came about from a dream. So I have paragraph 8 telling me about how Paul McCartney got his idea for a song from a dream, and then I have paragraph 9 telling me how Rene Descartes got his idea for the scientific method from a dream. So now let's look at our options. It shows how new and influential ideas can come from dreams. Well, yep, that's pretty much what it talks about. Let's make sure none of the others work. It proves that intelligent people tend to have more complex dreams. It doesn't really talk about Paul McCartney's intelligence at all, so that probably doesn't fit the best. It demonstrates the importance of trying to understand our dreams. It doesn't tell us that we need to understand our dreams. It just tells us that they got their ideas from their dreams. It supports the theory that your brain is organizing information as you sleep. This doesn't really talk about organizing information. This talks about coming up with a great idea. So the only one that fits would be A. So A has to be the correct answer. Let's look at another example. In this one, again, you would have read the text all the way through once. For the sake of time, I'm not going to do that, but I will tell you that this poem is about the speaker in the poem has a stutter, and they are describing how that makes them feel, and that is basically how the text is set up. So if we look at this particular question, it says, how does stanza 4 contribute to the reader's understanding of the speaker? Now remember, the speaker is not the author, but the person that's speaking in the poem. So let's look at this. It says, when people ask it, they don't know that when my teacher's eyes search the class for an answer, even if I know it, I look down. So then I ask myself, okay, now that I read this for a second time, what is this particular stanza doing? Well, it's telling me that even if the speaker knows the answer to the question, they are embarrassed to answer because it says they look down. So they are embarrassed by their stutter, and they are also trying to avoid having to speak in front of the class. So let's look at our options. It reveals that the speaker is shy and that's why they developed a stutter. No, it doesn't say anything about the reason for developing the stutter. It shows how the speaker has kept their stutter a secret from the teacher and their peers. It doesn't say that it's a secret, and we kind of get the idea that the teacher knows, so that's probably not correct. It reveals that the speaker uses their stutter as an excuse to not participate in class. Well, they're not telling the teacher that they can't. They're just kind of embarrassed and trying not to speak in class because they're looking down. So let's look at D. It shows how the speaker is embarrassed, oh, there we go, by their stutter and doesn't speak up. So yes, this particular stanza does do that. And so that would be what it contributes to the meaning. It shows us that the speaker is embarrassed. So D would be the correct answer. When you get these types of questions, it's important that you, one, have read the text all the way through at least once, and so you understand the whole meaning of the text. Then you go back and you look at the part of the text that they're asking you to look at, and you read that part again. You ask yourself, what's the main idea of this part, or what is it trying to tell me? And then you ask yourself, how does that fit into the overall meaning as a whole? And that is how you approach these questions. If you need any more help, make sure to visit the resources provided for you in Canvas.